Hello, and thank you for choosing to watch Candlelight Scene number 2. This is where we mix the candles with the Christmas lights. So we'll teach you how to light the background based on motivation from the Christmas lights. This is the actual shot, as you can see it. This is the behind the scenes of the shot. We're going to go through the lighting step by step in the actual field. So we're not going to do any more prep before, because this is a short piece, and actually the rest of these pieces from now on are all short. So we're going to take care of all the teaching and all the learning in the field as we go step by step, watching how we did this, and then we'll do like a little wrap up maybe at the end. The one thing I want to show you real quick before we get started is where we started from. This is the actual shot that we started with, and of course you already know where we ended up. So if you're interested in finding out how we ended up with that final shot, go ahead and watch this. About 14 minutes. And getting it ready. All the pedestals that we're going to use, everything is going to get set up against this dark gray background.
Give about 2 seconds.
Okay. Move it into the center between them, and you can kind of see on the monitor where it is right between them. A little bit further back, right there. Okay. Actually, even further back and a little bit to the left. Right there, so you can just see the edge of it, you know? At this point I realized that there's just not enough background there in order for me to have the expanse of this shot the way I wanted it. There's just not enough room. I can't get the chairs in there, the Christmas lights and everything, so I had to make a command decision at that point and just switch over to another background entirely. Cannot get the subjects in here, as well as the candles, as well as the background. It's just too small. It needs to be about twice as wide almost. So we're going to flip over to this background right here, this blue background, which might actually help us a little better anyhow. It might look a little bit nicer, kind of like a night sky. So we're going to flip over to this side and move everything over to this side instead. Since our lighting tech were busy doing the lighting and helping out with everything else in the gear, we asked the models to go ahead and set up all these little candles. These are just little tea candles from IKEA. The whole bag was like $3, and it created that bouquet of light in the foreground. I intended it to look something like a birthday cake, like maybe they're celebrating something up on the roof of a building with the wind blowing behind them. Don't forget to always use gloves when you handle scrims. These hot scrims are extremely hot. Always use gloves when you handle them, pull them out of the lights. As you can see right now, the shot's looking really nice in the monitor. We have a really nice layout. Everything's looking really good, ready to go. There was just one last thing we needed to do, which is to send the lighting tech around to all the lights and make sure that they're not spilling any extra light onto the floor. So what he's got right there is a sheet of that black wrap, or Cene-foil, which is just that black foil, and it's really heavy duty. And what he's doing is he's taking little strips of it and wrapping them around the lights where they're spilling light on the floor. What that's going to do is it's going to keep that light off of the floor, which is normally ruining kind of the illusion of them being up on a roof or something like that. It's going to expose the floor. It's also going to reflect light from the floor back into their faces and ruin our lighting. So let's head back to the set right now and see what's going on. Okay. So let's go to each one of the individual lights and show what we did. We have a 300 watt fill light, which is going through tough spun, going through a silk, double silk. And that is also being knocked down by this flag to keep it off of the background. That's a happy thought. Thank you for that. So we're going to go ahead and strike the fill over here on and off so you can see exactly what it's doing. Now we didn't need a lot of light here as fill light. We just wanted a little bit. So we wanted a little bit of light. 300 watt piece was just fine, you know, was enough. And we wanted to break it over a very large area. So we diffused it first with a tough spun and secondarily with the large silk, because we want it to be spread over a very large area. You can see when we turn it on and off, it's not making a huge impact. It's just making a little bit of a difference just to kind of peek into the shadows a little bit and bring up the levels. Now we move on to rim light. This 150 right here. RE150, and that's going through this amber gel, and that is acting as their rim light right there. Cool. We have all of our Christmas lights right there, and what we have over here is our other 150. Cool, thank you. And let's see what this one's doing.
Going cold. Striking. Going cold.
And
Striking.
we go to our final 150, which has some black wrap on it right there. And the black wrap is making it so that the light isn't spilling from the instrument and down into the floor. We don't want that. So we put some black wrap on it right there so it doesn't spill. It is also going through an amber gel right there. Okay, let's see.
Striking. Striking. Striking.
Okay. Our final light right here is our 650. And so you can see that this one's going to be, of course, the key. It's the largest light on the set. It's 650 watts, going through just one layer of diffusion, just to kind of soften the light a little bit. The reason we chose a much larger, softer source, which is the chimera, as opposed to just a piece of diffusion like we did in the first candle scene, is because this is a lot of candles, which are going to make a much larger, softer source. So we have to mimic that larger, softer source. In the first candle scene, we're just using one candle, maybe 2 or 3. So that creates, a very small source of light. It's going to be very sourcey. It's going to create deep, dark shadows. But in this case, if we were there with them on the roof and had all these candles there, it would be a much larger, softer source. Now we're going to show you the action of the flags and the silks in the set. Let's see what the silk is doing. Anytime you're ready, just swing it out and swing it back in. And then each one of the flags, can you take the flag away, please? Or swing it out. Okay, here we go. And back again. And out. And then back in. And back in. Okay, now kill all of our instruments. Now the reason we're turning off all the lights is we're going to go ahead and light the candles right now. We just wanted to prove that you can do all the lighting and everything that you need to do on the set before you even light the candles. And lighting the candles themselves is going to help the illusion a little bit, but is definitely not necessary. The candles themselves are not putting out enough illumination to actually light the subjects themselves. However, you do need them as motivation for your lighting, otherwise it just won't look like candlelight. You have to have the candle actually in the shot to provide the motivation. And also you need henceforth the Christmas lights themselves to provide motivation for the rim lights themselves too. Otherwise the rim lights are just coming in and everybody's saying, well, where are these lights coming from? There's no motivation for any of this lighting. However, you don't need to actually have the candles on the entire time when you're doing your lighting. What that's going to do is going to save you money, because that means you don't have to keep pouring bags and bags of candles into the scene as you're doing your lighting. These things aren't going to last more than about 45 minutes, so you can probably go through 2 or 3 bags of candles. The other thing is the smoke from the candles might make somebody sick, and also it causes a potential hazard. I mean, what if somebody brushes up against one of these candles and then they all kind of topple over, and then you've got wax and everything everywhere. So what's the point? You know what you're doing. You don't have to have these things on the entire time when you're doing your lighting. You've got your motivation. You know what you're supposed to have as far as the light source. You can go ahead and do your lighting, and then when you get done, get everybody together like a team. Go ahead and have them light up all these candles and have fun doing it. You can see that they're all having fun doing this. This is at about 9 decibels a gain, and then we're going to go ahead and get back to the set right now, and we're going to do some gain studies with the main camera to see just how much light is coming out of these candles. So as we can see from the point of view of the camera is that even when we're going to go ahead and go to right now to 9 decibels gain on the main camera. You can see it just does not provide enough illumination. Also, it's the wrong kind of illumination. It's like monster light. The light's coming from below the eyes, and it just kind of is not very flattering. Also, notice how the candles are all now blown out. There's no detail in the candles anymore. You can't actually see the flames. It just looks like a kind of like a white thing at the bottom of the frame there. So you've just lost all your definition in the actual candles themselves, and that's going to cheapen your image again, make it look even more like video and less like you're watching a movie. So watch what happens again when we take down the gain back to normal 0 decibels gain. There it goes. There's definition in the candles themselves. You can see each flame individually twinkling by itself. And now we're going to turn on the key light on the left side of the frame, that 650 watt light. And of course we'll dim that down later to the correct intensity so it feels right. Now back to the set. And start going around to each one at a time, please, with the backlights, with the rim lights. Great. And do me a favor, can you lean back? Kevin, lean back. So now we're just going to roll on this for a little bit. Like I said in the last piece, I don't think Kevin ever really got what we were doing here. He always seemed like he was afraid of the camera or something, but he did a pretty good job. And now we're going to try it with the dimmers. Okay, you got control of both of them, or you guys want to individually control them? I can get the other one. Okay. Okay, so now we got control of the dimmers. We got 2 guys on dimmers right here. There's 1. There's number 2, right there. We're going to go ahead and flicker these main lights over here in the front so we can make the appearance of the candles. Okay, whenever you guys are ready, go ahead and start flickering, but very small movements, not big movements. Fast, but small movements. And of course, with the wind in the back, we're getting that kind of feeling that it's kind of high up in a building or something, or outside at least. As you'll notice in some of your own productions, your set may end up becoming a love connection ground, and I think that these two guys became an item right after our shoot. Denise, yes. Don't lean in quite so far. Yeah, because the shadow, he throws a shadow on you. Okay, that's cool. That's cool right there. We're gonna make one adjustment. Mike, can you make that amber light hit him as well in that position too, please? Maybe open up the right barn door or something. Yeah, make it hit him a little bit. Yeah, there you go, right there. And now go all the way up with the key lights and come down a little bit. Yeah, all the way up with the key lights. And you can see how that just doesn't work. It just has it doesn't quite create the right mood. And then come back down a little bit slowly. Yeah. That's beautiful. So we're moving the Christmas lights in and out to make it feel like there's a wind upstairs or outside. Just slowly. If you do it slowly, it'll work. Just gently. A little bit less intense flickering, more gentle with the flicker. Oh yeah, that looks so much nicer. That looks really nice with the movement of the Christmas lights. So we got our shot. This is our set. You've already seen every single one of the lights that we used. We really didn't use that many lights. We used the 650 watt key on the left side of the frame going through Chimera. We used the 300 watt Fresnel going through Tough Spun, which is that thick diffusion, and also double silk, which is that modifier that's hanging on the C-stand right there. We also used two 150 watt Fresnel lights going through amber gel, acting as rim lights. Those are those two that are sitting in the background right there, aiming back at the people. That's what's creating the effect that those Christmas lights are actually lighting the people. And that's pretty much it. I mean, it's 650 plus 300 plus 150 plus 150. That's it. It's a small ARRI kit to make this whole scene happen. And now we're watching it with a little bit of smoke. We added a little bit of smoke just to kind of see what would happen, you know, create maybe a nicer kind of wide shot for us to use as advertising. You'll find that when you actually have a shot that you really like and you've composed it well and everything works really well, once you're done and you've got the shot that you want, you might try some other version, something totally different, something that you never thought you'd try before, which in this case, like smoke for us, just to see what it would look like. In this case, it gave us a really nice kind of advertising wide shot for us to use. It's not something necessarily we would use in a movie, but it's something that we can use on a box or, you know, something for advertising on the internet. And also it gave us an opportunity to use that pedestal again, which is that large wheeled tripod that we have in the studio, to kind of get more moving shots and show you guys what you can get with a moving shot in this kind of a scene.